So it's a little goes a little more deeper behind. Two incidences changed my life. One, in 2005, an 8-year-old boy suffering from attention deficit hyperactive disorder, who I counseled the mother, went home, and then the father hit the boy, and the boy jumped from the 4th floor head down, and his head split, and he died immediately. This incident shook me a lot as a young student of psychiatry. And that's where I really felt that if the same boy would have been born in United States of America with the education system and awareness over there, he might have become another Michael Phelps. Because Michael Phelps had attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Now, we don't have that system. Our system of education is more about academic based, which was not what Indian education was around 40, 50, 100, 200 years back. We were a Gurukul system where a lot of self-control, self-awareness, all that was given so much of priority. Today it is maths, physics, chemistry, biology, history, geography. And if you see the most of the history and geography, you can already get it on Google. I don't know why it's still there in our textbooks. You can just Google it about it and everything is there. Now 90% of stuff is also available on Google. Now a boy who takes commerce in 11th and 12th and wants to get into business and commerce stream, he doesn't know why he studied physics from 4th standard to 10th standard. He doesn't remember anything. So I feel large part of our education system was not giving what the student wants, was giving only what they felt they wanted. And that's where I really felt that there is a need to create a value-based education. And in 2008, looking at the problems that students face, I went out, I learned under Jack Canfield, the person who created Chicken Soup for the Soul series. I read about a lot of psychologists from across the world and worked under them, came back to India, designed a curriculum, started with one student in my clinic. Today, I have done 60,000 students across India today. So the create motivation and passion and mission for me to do what I'm doing is a very simple logic. I want kids to be happy. Because you are young only one point of your life. You are young for just 10 to 12 years. And today with the kind of pressure, before we used to have joint family set up, you had a lot of people to play. Today, husband and wife are in the same house, it is called joint family. That's the kind of situation that we've actually come up to. So I feel that, kids have been plucked off the happiness and joy of growing today. So just to give that back and to make kids think about life as whole and not as event by event, and to help them identify their own strengths, weaknesses, so they don't commit suicide because somebody else criticized them about their weakness or they kept putting them down, and to stop probably bullying, make kids' life happy towards their parents. This is what I started with life. Now, if you look at failure as such, previously in the older system, that is around 15 to 20 years back system, if you look, we had a lot of sports. We used to play a lot of games. So in a game, always somebody has to lose. Because if somebody loses only, then somebody wins. So there were a lot of areas where we used to take, say for example, PT class. When I studied in Don Bosco School in Egmore, we had 2 PT classes till 12th standard. So we had that equal amount of play and equal amount of enjoyment till our full of our school days. Today, if you know, one PT class is from 6th standard, and that too, if any teacher is absent during the week, they'll take off the PT class also. So literally, students are like in a corporate jungle. It's like a manufacturing unit. If you see many of these schools, class this over, manufacturing over there for a year, next class, manufacturing over, next class. So there seems to be absolutely no way that this poor kid can learn from nature, learn from life, learn from sport, failing, and failure as such as they don't even look, and today, thank God to the government, you have compulsory pass till 8th standard, 9th standard. So literally they don't even know what failure is. And then suddenly when they fail, either they lose complete interest in that study because of the failure, or they go to the other extreme because of the failure. So I think these are all the certain things that I feel that, our current education system does not teach. What education, see, there is one thing that education should distinguish is between schooling and education. Schooling is different from education. This context they should understand. Schooling is what you learn in school. Education is what you do after that outside of the school. So it's a whole different paradigm to look at. So if I ask you one thing that you would be required is the school curriculum to an extent at least must be student-centric than subject-centric. Today it is subject-centric. I'm going to teach you a subject. It has to be more collaborative learning than hierarchical learning, where it is just one-way learning. It has to be collaborative. A child needs to come out of a shell, needs to make a presentation, needs to understand what it is. They need to understand concepts in a holistic way and in a fun way. I think that will actually define what education is. So now if you look at in the 21st century, there's been an explosion of information and technology. If you look at us or what we studied in engineering first year, take 20 years back and what we studied now, there's a huge difference, huge. If you take a normal engineering student, he writes 48 semester exams, another 100 unit tests by the time he finishes 4 years. So technically, if you see a normal average engineering student, by the time he comes out of 4 years, he writes close to 180 test papers on an average. So you can imagine the amount of tests he has to learn to read. And so much of subjects, so much of varied subjects. And we feel that still it's the old school way of reading. It's still that grandmother way of reading that is being enforced in our children. But at the same time, we don't teach them latest methodologies of memory, of speed reading, photo reading, learning skills. None of this is actually taught. And I think if these things are taught, I think it will really help kids to understand subjects much better, study very well, reproduce subjects very well, and make subjects more interesting. So I think storytelling has a very important part, because if you look at Andakalathu Paati Kadan solluvaanga. Grandma stories, grandfather stories, because story has a very powerful wiring with the human brain, where you have story with emotion, story with passion, it gives you a lot of visual training, because somebody narrates a story and you create a visual picture around it. So that increases your visual, auditory, kinesthetic part of your brain. And I think stories play a very fundamental part. Kids must learn to love good stories, must be able to tell good stories. You may forget your marks, but you'll never forget your Jack and Jill stories. I feel very sad for you. If I could give you one piece of advice, I feel very sorry that India as a country has let you down. Seriously, that's one thing advice I give to the kids. I feel India as a country has let its kids down. Because academics is not what life is. Just look at US, 100 out of the top richest people in the US, 70 of them are college dropouts, 70 to 77 of them are college dropouts. There's a curriculum over there which teaches them all sorts of skills that helps them to survive without even academics. I think what I really would suggest to kids, whatever be your situation in life, start to learn life skills. Start to learn, stuff that can make you survive in life, like cooking, artistry, storytelling. Learn other avenues so that you become a multi-dimensional personality. Nobody remembers the physics marks or the chemistry marks of 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th later on in life. I'm telling you, I don't remember even my 12th mark. But what I'll always remember is the great moments I had in school, the laughter, the fun, the enjoyment, the cultures. I think start creating great moments in your life and create your life as a masterpiece when you're in school, because school and college happens only once in life.